Going live. Good morning. It is Monday, March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day, which is a holiday that has never meant anything to me. But happy St. Patrick's Day. And if it means something to you, congratulations, I suppose. I'm not Irish. I haven't lived in cities where they make a big deal about it. I guess when I was very young in St. Louis, maybe they did, but uh, since I've been in Texas, not really a big deal there. Welcome. Good morning. Looks like our streams are working, although my camera's doing some weird green tinted thing. I don't know what's going on there, but we will. What is going on there? It looks like it's out on the stream, so it's not just my monitor. Let me. Okay. All right. Welcome. My name is Keith. This is Dev Jobs Daily, a stream that we do Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to new time frame 8:30. 8:30. We started this stream on January 1st. January 1st. Yeah, that was a Wednesday. January 1st, and we've been streaming every Monday through Friday since then, from 8 to 9. During the last week to 10 days, we cut it short because South by Southwest, a big tech conference going on in Austin, Texas, where I'm broadcasting from. And I found that 30 minutes was pretty good. What I'm saying is, I think 30 minutes is where we're going to be, and then if something comes up, or if somebody wants to throw something in the chat, and we go long, that's fine. But most days I'm going to kind of keep it to a tight 30. And what do we do in this stream? Welcome. We do two things, but there's one sneaky thing that which is the real goal. The real goal is to be a hangout for people who are in the job market, specifically the tech job market. If you're out there, if you've been laid off recently, or if you're trying to break into the industry and you're getting out job applications every day. It's a tough job market right now, and the key is staying motivated. And one of the ways that we have found that you can stay motivated is to have a partner, have a buddy to check in with, and I'm going to be that buddy. You get up in the morning, you don't necessarily have to shower, but it's generally a good idea, and get a caffeinated beverage. I'm drinking a little tea this morning. In you, and get to those job applications. Get them out every day, consistently. I get up every morning and I check the job numbers for the postings of jobs, and we're going to go over those numbers. I was up yesterday morning. I was up Saturday morning, and I've been tracking those numbers for almost 3 years now. And so we're going to take a look at that and get a sense of where the trend line is in our industry. Why do I look like a Grinch? My camera is unreliable. Something's not right about that camera. And then the other thing we do is kind of talk about news, what's going on in the news that might affect the tech industry, both directly and the job markets more broadly. And so we're going to hit some news stories today. Let's get into it. Again, my name is Keith. I've been a professional developer for over 30 years. Most recently, I worked at Dell as a front-end developer. And now I manage a coding school that helps people learn coding skills. And that school is in Austin, Texas, and has been around for over 10 years. It's the Austin Coding Academy. And so if you have questions about working in tech, if you have questions about getting a job in tech, if you have questions about what's going on in the world of tech. I spend a significant portion of every day keeping an eye on that and having opinions about it. So if you have a thought or a question, please feel free to throw it in the chat. And I'm happy to take a detour and answer questions and chat about whatever the chat wants to talk about. But let's forge on. Let's see. Let's look at the job numbers first. So, let me go to this page first. And what we'll see here is that that, let me make sure. Oh, I didn't move the numbers over. Give me 1 second here. Do that. Okay, there we go. Today's numbers are updated. So, I got 3 graphs here. One is the last week, one is the last 6 months, and the bottom one is the last year. And these are tracking new job postings in the last 24 hours with a 7-day average on them to kind of get rid of some of the sketchy noise, the skittery noise, and to give us really a trend line. The trend line gives us a sense of what's going on in the world of the internet. And the way I'm targeting that, is looking at the job postings for JavaScript developers. The back end can be written in a whole bunch of different languages, but every web application, every website has JavaScript on it. So it is a good indicator of where the trend is going on, and certainly in the internet. Maybe not necessarily in the wider tech world, but the vast majority of programmers are web developers. That's where most of the work has been for the last 30 years. So, as you can see, in the last 7 days, we got a slight trend line down. All this talk of recession, all this talk of tariffs has really put a squeeze on the market. And when the market squeeze, companies feel uncertain about where extra money's coming from to grow. And so we've seen not only a bunch of layoffs in the government, but a bunch of hiring freezes in a lot of other industries because they're just not sure what's going to happen with these tariffs. And so until the dust settles on that stuff, companies are not feeling comfortable increasing their headcount. And as a result, in the last week, the job postings are down slightly. In the last 6 months, they're a slight uptrend, roughly about the same. But you can see, really, the last 2 months, almost exactly, 2 months has been pretty flat, right? We're kind of at the down end of that variation. Be nice to see it kind of go up again. Seems like every time it's headed up, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to break through this time, but nope. It's just on that little roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down. And then the last year, you can see that a year ago this time, there were 25% more jobs being posted than there are today. That is not good. We don't like to see that. But, again, for those of you in the job market, again, maybe you've been laid off recently, maybe you just graduated from college in the fall and you're looking for opportunities, maybe you got a graduation coming up in the spring and you're trying to get a jump on those activities on the job search. Although the numbers are lower, there are numbers. People are still posting jobs. With all the gloom and doom in the news about the stock market crashing and losing $1 trillion in value, and all the government layoffs and all that stuff, lots of opportunity to get down on yourself and about the times in which we live. But there's still people posting jobs. So it's your job when you're unemployed to get a job. That's your whole job. And if you're putting in 40 hours a week in that effort, and most of you aren't, that's how you need to kind of look at it. What am I doing? I'm getting up in the morning. I'm getting job applications through Indeed, through the job boards. Those are the easy ones, because once you get your information in there, you click a button and boom, you've already applied for that job. Then it's time to do the deep work. Go search those. Um, go search those companies' websites that maybe you want to look at, or just go to the Fortune 500. Go to like a list of the best places to work. Do searches for um, lists on the internet of companies, and hit their websites and see if there's any job postings on there. A lot of companies don't want to get inundated with 200 resumes through the job boards, so they just put it on their website and then put the word out within their own organization to say they're hiring, looking for more, warm or qualified leads. So work every angle. Get on LinkedIn. Let everybody know you're out there in the job search. Not just one time when you get laid off and that Monday after you get laid off, but every Monday. Hey, still searching. Do some posts. Let people know what it's like being in the job market right now. Be consistent. That is the goal. And be creative. I do, since the first of the year, I've started getting more granular in the data that I'm pulling. So this is all of JavaScript jobs. The last page was just entry-level jobs. This is all the JavaScript jobs since the first of the year. Again, we had that huge spike coming out of New Year's with a lot of enthusiasm with the new administration. But come the inauguration and the signing statements and then the tariffs, all that stuff has made everything go completely flat. So while the trend line is still up, it's slowly flattening out because, we're just not seeing a lot of growth. I'm also tracking remote jobs. And you'll see with all this talk of return to office, and a lot of the big companies are taking the headlines with those announcements. And the government went through a round of announcements too about return to office. We're seeing a consistent number of job postings for remote work. And of course, this red line's important, because if you live in Des Moines, if you live in Amarillo, if you live in San Diego, you're at the mercy of, the jobs that are in your area. But if you got skills and you got a good portfolio, you're open to be looking for those remote jobs that just doubles, triples, sometimes 10x is the number of job opportunities that you have maybe in your local area. So it's a good number, and we want to see that continue to grow over time. I'm also breaking it down to entry level, mid level, and senior level. So the mid level is the red line, the senior level is the yellow line, and the blue line is the entry level positions. Again, they're all kind of mirroring each other in terms of the flatness of the curve, but something to get a sense of. It's always interesting to see that the mid-levels, there's a lot more companies looking for mid-level developers, right? And this is the remote work. Again, pretty consistent. No huge trend up or down, but we'll take it. Any of that is good news. So then I hit LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every day, all day, because that's where we go to find work. That's where we go to reach out or connect with recruiters. That's where we go to research the jobs that we're looking at. So, and that's where they're going to be, looking at us too. They're going to look at our resume. If the resume looks good, they're going to look at our LinkedIn. If the LinkedIn looks good, they're going to look at our portfolio. If the portfolio looks good, they're going to get you on the phone, right? Um, so we want to pay attention to all this stuff. But the other reason I like it is they've got this nice LinkedIn news feed that highlights both a lot of the tech news, but also the greater business news. So I'm going to hit a couple of stories there. It's a Federal Reserve week. Is the Federal Reserve gonna lower the prime interest rate? It is unlikely. They didn't the last time. After a number of rate cuts last year, everything sort of flattened out. There's more talk now that they're expecting maybe another round of rate cuts in June, but June seems like forever from now. March, April, May, June. Forever. So, we want to see some rate cuts because rate cuts means cheaper money. Cheaper money means easier access to the fuel that we need for companies need to hire people. So, we'll see what other news is in there. U.S. Commerce Department released its retail sales report in February, which tracks demand for finished goods. Today, tomorrow, the U.S. Census Bureau is going to release housing indicators, including preliminary numbers of building permits. Wednesday, the Federal Open Market Committee meets to set interest rates. The U.S. Department of Labor will meet on Thursday to release its initial jobless claims for the previous week. The report, proxy for layoffs, tracks the number of people filing for unemployment benefits. We're kind of this weird space right now where there have been a lot of firings, layoffs at the government level, but almost immediately all of those have been challenged in court. So the people who got laid off, and there are 100,000 of them or something like that, you would normally expect to see on the unemployment rolls, but since many of them think maybe they're going to get their job back, maybe not as many of them are just rushing out Monday morning to get on unemployment benefits. So this will probably be a lagging indicator of that. We'll get a sense of that as we spend more time, as time sort of rolls on there. What have we got? Okay. And then also on Thursday, the National Association of Realtors will release its monthly report. In general, house prices are coming down, rents are coming down. I mean, the housing markets are very much zip code by zip code for sure. But I think the trend in general is, everything got a little overheated, overinflated during the pandemic, and we're still washing that out. I know the value of my home increased 20% during the pandemic. My house is all paid for right now, fortunately, but with an increased property value means higher property taxes. I'm in Texas where they have significant property taxes. So, I own a thing. I bought it at one price. They say it's increased in value. I'm not gaining any of that value because I'm not selling it. But I got to pay more in Texas. Welcome. We'll see. Okay. What else we got? Job hopping. Don't expect more pay. Especially in the tech world, it's always been harder to get a raise from your current employer than it is from jumping jobs. Like, this has just been the way. I think the longest I was at a job, aside from this one, in my sort of professional developer role, where I'm kind of a developer adjacent now, working as a programmer, I think the longest I ever worked anywhere was like 3 years. Uh, and in part was because, like, when you change jobs, the grass is always greener. And somebody's typically willing to pay more for your skills because, you work at a job, you get hired as a mid-level, you spend 3 years there, now you're a senior level, but they're not really paying you senior level wages. You go someplace else, they recognize that senior label. Now you're going to get a decent bump in pay. What we're seeing here is Wall Street Journal's reporting that the salary difference between workers who stayed in a position and those who switched job has collapsed to a 10-year low. Meanwhile, many job seekers, including those in tech, have seen salaries for their positions shrink. Again, some of this is the market correcting because things did get overheated during the pandemic. The government printed a lot of money. They flooded the market with a lot of money, including giving it to a bunch of people who are in, middle income and lower income people. And what did they do? They spent it. So companies saw the benefit from that. Their coffers filled up, and they went on the hiring spree. They were paying a premium for people because they were fighting over seats. And now, again, we're coming to our senses a little bit. Everything's been pumped up, inflated, bubblish. And so now we're seeing it kind of settle back down. It's not great ever getting a cut in your pay, but at the end of the day, this is kind of the way the market works. Growing fears over a slowing economy, concerns about the economy are starting to take a toll on consumers and businesses, says the Wall Street Journal. Consumer confidence is dropping, with people focusing on essentials and postponing big ticket purchases like cars and vacations. Businesses are feeling the squeeze with sales and customer inquiries. We've been considering doing some fix up, redoing a bathroom in the kitchen and that kind of stuff, but the interest rates have been pretty crazy. We didn't do it during the pandemic when the interest rates were low, and now that we're really considering it, now the interest rates are higher. So we're probably holding off. We're not going to get the roof redone. We're not going to do anything until maybe the fall when the prices start to come down, when the interest rates start to come down. Where the consumer goes, so goes the economy. This is the way that some economists and I have been saying for a long time. You want a strong economy? Put money in the hands of poor people. They will spend it. What's next? AI nurses face growing backlash. Hospitals are enlisting AI nurses to address staffing shortages, burnout, and increasing costs, the Associated Press says. These virtual agents can automate time-consuming tasks and are available to chat 24/7 in multiple languages. However, the AI has triggered false alarms and in some cases provided harmful advice. Hospitals say it helps nurses work more efficiently and effectively, but nursing unions disagree. The entire ecosystem is designed to automate and de-skill and ultimately replace caregivers. Companies want to always lower their headcount, or in the case of things like nursing and teachers, where they can't get enough qualified people for the roles, they're going to be looking for other opportunities to use technology and automation to help with that. Ultimately they would like to replace all their employees with robots, automation, and AI. Those days aren't happening anytime soon, and they're really not happening in nursing. Like, No. But nurses have to do a lot of things that are kind of rote, note taking, all kinds of stuff that could be assisted with these things. But generally, when people want to, people want human interaction. When their health is compromised, when their family's health is compromised, they want answers from somebody they can trust. And that's a human being, not AI that's hallucinating. So this is going to be a dicey future. There's going to be a lot of false starts like this, and we'll see what ultimately pans out. I've got to replace that camera. Don't know why I'm all green all of a sudden. What is going on there? How are we doing? 4 more minutes. Okay. Laid off workers find community. Layoffs can be crushingly lonely. That's why Media Veterans launched Laid Off, a newsletter and Discord community for people to connect and offer advice and commiserate about post-layoff experiences. Our weekly Substack features a different layoff story each week. Past spotlights include former workers at USAID, Tesla, and Google. U.S. employers announced 172,000 job cuts in February. With fears of recession mounting, the job search could get more challenging. Again, this is kind of why I started this stream. Again, to be a connection with somebody to stay consistent, help you stay consistent in the job search. And, as our... Oh, we got some messages in the chat I didn't see. I'm not used to looking over there. You can see a lot more growth in the AI industry by the end of the year. With $500 billion Trump is pouring into the industry. Will do load of work for all of us, as well as all these companies fighting for the spotlight in the next big LLM and agentic AI. It's true that there's tons of money being thrown at the AI industry. Hey, Trevor. And it is going to be, that's not going to slow down. It's only going to speed up. And these tools, whether they're in healthcare or whatever, are going to keep popping up. Some of which will be indispensable and super helpful. Others will, just be tacked on nonsense so they can add the AI feature to help sell their product and get more headlines. Both of those things will always occur when you see these kind of bubble-ish things happening. And, we'll see. But I've been playing a lot more with the agentic AI myself. And I've been, in the programming space, there's been a lot of talk about vibe coding, and I've been playing around with vibe coding, trying to figure out where and if that makes any sense. And it does feel like it makes sense for small projects and prototypes. I've been prototyping a lot of little ideas lately. None of this code, I will say, would be production ready in any environment where there is any sensitive data being handled. I would not trust it at all with any project or prototype that collected personal information, stored any information in a database that was sensitive to users. But I've been building small projects that don't really rely on user accounts and or certainly not in any kind of sensitive. Like, I don't want anybody vibe coding my health applications or my banking applications. Anywhere where it's a target of hackers, where they can make some money off of hacking that application, that is not a good place for vibe coding. But for prototyping, where we're seeing a lot of people really utilizing these new AI tools to speed up production. Like, I built something over the weekend in about 8 hours that would have taken me 2 weeks. And while, again, there's a certain level of polish to it, because I have a background in this stuff and skills, you don't want to look at that code. It's a mess. It's functional. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. But man, you look at that code, and I mean, it is a disaster. Like, I would not put this in a, in a repo that I was showing a potential job employer when I look at, show off the quality of my work. Because AI is just not good at understanding and holding context of a growing and larger code base. All software development is iterative. Oh, we build something, we look at it, we test it, we build, add to it, we look at it, we test it. As humans, when we build these systems and we hold all of that context of the application that we're building in our brains, we can be very organized, we can be very efficient with the way we create our code. AI is just like tacking on more code. I built a project 2 weeks ago with vibe coding, and by the time it was done, looked great, functioned great. It had 7 breakpoints that had the exact same setting on them when I was trying to figure out make it look more work through, making it look better on mobile. It was just every time I'd ask for a new feature, it'd create a whole new breakpoint with the exact same one that already exists. Instead of putting code in the old one, it just added a new one. And like that code, I'm not going to spend any time refactoring that code because it's a small project. It doesn't, it does what it was designed to do, and I'm fine with it. But again, I wouldn't, if an employer was paying me for that, like that, there's just so many ways that the maintenance of that is just a disaster that I would not spend a whole lot of time with. So, all right, thanks for the question, Trevor. And we are rolling over our time, so I'm going to start to wrap it up here. But again, reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me, and we will see you in 23 hours and 30 minutes. Have a great day, and see you tomorrow.